Hey, it's the Rican, and I'm gonna talk about the story I found. It's about the New York State governor, Kathy Hochul. Here's the story I'm gonna bring up because this just is it's indicative of what the Democrats do. Here it goes. New York governor calls on Facebook to crack down on pro-lifers. So why does she want to crack down on pro-lifers? Well, it goes, she wants to stop misinformation regarding abortion in the wake of the Texas heartbeat abortion ban. And this is the whole thing. And she goes, in a letter penned to Mark Zuckerberg, Hochul applauded the tech giant's effort to stop the spread of misinformation on issues such as COVID-19 and vaccines. However, Hochul believes the that abortion should be at the forefront of misinformation prevention efforts on the platform as well. So here it goes. Here's the government writing a letter to a private company to restrict free speech. And that's illegal. That's illegal right there because it's something that the government can't do. They're asking social media to do. You cannot, as a state actor, you cannot get a company to violate the First Amendment. And that's what she's doing here with no blowback. That's the whole thing. There's nobody going, hey, wait a minute, what are you talking? When you could, in this day and age of fact checkers, when it's opinion checkers, really, this is how we get our freedoms curtailed, because we're okay with this. Especially one side's okay with this because they're the side that's benefiting from it. They're okay with crackdowns on freedoms because they think in the long run it's going to benefit them. When it's short-sighted, because what's really going to happen is it's going to come back to bite them in the end. That's why you have that saying about the whole, oh, they came for the, they came for the trade unionists, and they came for the communists, and they came for all these people. And then when they came for me, there was no one to talk for me. Well, you're not learning your lesson from history. That's what's going on here. And if you think that just because you're okay with them curtailing misinformation, and I will put that in quotation marks, you're okay with that, then you're going to lose your freedom too. Maybe not now, but you have people like, let's say, look what's going on with Bill Maher right now. Bill Maher is having kind of an awakening, realizing the crazy shit that leftists in the name of liberalism are doing. It's like, no, that's why he's starting to speak out, because he's finally starting to see what some of us other disaffected liberal types have been talking about for the past what 5-10 years. I mean, he's late to the game, but congratulations, you're in the game again. But this is stuff that's going on, that misinformation about abortion. You want to compare this to COVID, where there's plenty of information about abortion. You just want to get rid of stuff that negatively impacts, let's say, for example, the New York State law. That's what she's talking about here. She goes, these articles, memes, and other shared posts often describe horrific procedures that have no basis in reality, cite entirely made-up studies, and purposely inflate or misrepresent public health data. The letter continues. The goal behind these posts is clear: to sow fear, confusion, and shame, and not to advance an agenda to control women's bodies. No, no, that's nonsense. There's no one, yet maybe I'm not going to say there's no one, because there's always someone. There's no one that wants to control a woman's body. Okay. A woman controls her own body. But when you have another body, when you have another person inside you, and I didn't mean that as a joke, I meant that as for the baby. Once that baby is growing inside you, there's someone else that has rights too. It's not that you may dismiss it as saying it's not a human being, it's not a person, it's not alive, but that's on you. I'm still the old school Democrat. I still believe the old school Democrat way of safe, rare, and legal. Okay. Um, Problem what's going on is there are people in this society that use it as birth control, and that's sick. It should, this abortion shouldn't be birth control. Abortion should be like, shit, condom broke, the plan B didn't work. Um, you know, he didn't pull out, whatever it is. That not abortion shouldn't be the first choice. They're killing the stuff in Texas, but look, if you've had sex, you can have plan B. Okay, you could do the plan B. It doesn't work 100% of the time, but there's actions you could take to be in compliance with the law. There's nothing, you could do the abortion pill, and all this stuff. There's things that you can mitigate your risk, but nobody's talking about that. Everybody wants to talk about, how bad the law is. And, to be honest, I'm not a fan of it either, because at the end of the day, I'm consistent about my body, my choice. I wouldn't want, my wife to go through that unless her life was at risk. But this is what goes on with impunity. And it's okay for, let's say it's okay for her to pen this letter to Mark Zuckerberg to try to get them to censor speech, but here we are. That's what we see all the time. So it's like me, I made a video critical of Biden, and I said some stuff, and my video got taken off by YouTube, for stating an opinion. It wasn't misinformation, it was my opinion. But this is the danger when we have these, non-independent fact checkers, because it's bullshit when they say they're independent fact checkers. It's far from the truth. They have an agenda just like everybody else. But this is what passes as a acceptable behavior of trying to get basically the government trying to crack down on free speech. In this particular case, the New York State government. But in lines with these stupid stories, I'm going to talk about one more stupid story. I don't know if anyone's seen this teacher on TikTok talking about how, what's this? PBIS, it stands for Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports. I guess it's a type of, it goes here, is the model that Virginia schools use for encouraging good behavior in the classroom. According to this teacher, asking kids to sit in their seats and listen to the teacher comes from white culture and is therefore suspect. And anyway, it goes here. So if he basically says, teacher claims encouraging students to behave is white supremacy. He goes here, he goes, the idea of just sitting quiet and being told stuff and taking things in a passive stance is not a thing that's in many cultures. So if we're positively enforcing these behaviors, we are by extension positively enforcing elements of white culture, which therefore keeps whiteness at the center, which is the definition of white supremacy, which is why, okay, these these things that are being taught to these teachers starts in colleges. And that's where we're losing the culture war, is in the schools. Because look, what my previous story was talking about was about the Democratic mayor, uh, governor of New York, and she's writing to Facebook, and it's okay because she's using the right terminology, talking about misinformation, which is bullshit. She's just trying to censor pro-life people on Facebook. That's what she's trying for. What's going on here is these kids are being taught everything's the white patriarchy, societal domination, everything's white supremacy to these people. Anything that doesn't conform to, Marxist Black Lives Matter, uh LGBTQT, there's too many damn letters now, and that just LBQT plus, all that stuff. If you don't conform with any of that stuff, regardless if you're like me, that you're a person of color, you could be someone like Rob Smith, that's a gay Black conservative, Dave Rubin, uh, a gay, well, I don't want to call him a conservative, he's more libertarian. Blair White, transgender conservative personality. We're all across the spectrum. And if we don't conform as people who fit into those categories, you could hear the names that they call us for not falling in line. That it's gross. And it goes to tell you, as they just use identity politics as for power, and that's it. So these teaching these kids, these teachers learning this in colleges need to be pushed back. We need to take back the colleges, because that's where we're losing this. We're losing it there. And, like I said, you saw that, this lady's writing a letter to Mark Zuckerberg, and nobody's making a big deal about it because misinformation that she's battling. Just nonsense. It's battling, it's trying to censor opinion that you don't agree with. Here's, anything we disagree with is white supremacy. That's what this shows you here. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm the Right Rican. Follow me on. I post these videos on YouTube and Rumble. So if you're watching on either or, subscribe to the other channel. Especially if you watch me on YouTube, subscribe to my Rumble, because I'm. Who knows? They may go back to old videos and tell me I have strikes and blow up my channel like they've done to other people. So at least I'll always have Rumble to go back to. So that being said, also, I'm sorry, you can also follow me on social media: Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Telegram, all those places. You could interact with me there. All right. Well, have a good one, everyone.